I'm Camilla. Queer is an identity that really fits for me. There's so many things about the word queer that really attract me to the word. I think one of the first things that drew me to the word queer was the idea that it's an anti-assimilationist identity. And for me, my sexuality feels really non-normative, and I often find that my desires are considered, out of the mainstream, which is something that I really like and enjoy. So for me, that's really important. And the political edge of queer, that queer for me is about my sexuality, in that I'm attracted to people of all genders. But also it's a political identity for me, and has to do with trying to create a life and create relationships that don't follow a script that we've been given, and don't follow sort of maybe a traditional path or what we think of what makes, healthy, happy, satisfying relationships in a life. So queer for me is about creating those things for ourselves. I think there's a common misconception that porn performers or sex workers are sort of out of luck or disenfranchised or unempowered, and that porn or sex work is sort of a last resort of a desperate person. And my experience of being on camera and performing has been really thrilling and satisfying and important and interesting and challenging in all of these ways, and has brought me to relationships that are really important to my life. So I think for me, that's something that's really important for me to be able to say to people, is that performing in the kind of work I do is a choice, and it's a choice that I feel really good about making. A lot of things piss me off. White supremacist capitalist patriarchy is pretty high on the list. I would like to smash all of those things, and I intend to do so. Yeah, that and driving in traffic, man, I really hate that. I have a pretty long list of turn-ons, and I keep discovering new ones all the time, which is really thrilling. But I'd say probably the number one is brilliance. Someone who's really fucking smart and creative. That's gonna get me every time. Yeah, pretty much. Thoughtful people, generous people, people who care about the world a lot, and want to make it prettier and better and more interesting. That really gets me hot. I also really like power play, people who want to play with kinky, dirty things. Bondage, yeah, pain. I'm a huge pain slut. That's high on my list. Teasing, anticipation, those are huge turn-ons for me. Yeah, I could go on. I could get distracted, in fact. If I had to pick an article of clothing to describe my sexuality, it would definitely be a very high, sparkly pair of shoes with a gold thin heel that could potentially be used to hurt someone and or penetrate them. The experience of having an orgasm when people are watching me is a very intense, ecstatic experience. As an exhibitionist, I really, really like being watched a lot, and there's just something for me about feeling the energy of people who are focusing on me and looking at me and desiring me, and also enjoying or experiencing my desire as well. So it's really hot for me to be getting turned on and seeing that people are receiving that and getting turned on themselves and really enjoying that. And so being able to reach sort of this peak, this pinnacle of sexual enjoyment in an orgasm and share that with a room full of people is definitely one of my favorite things to do. It just takes it to a whole other level, and for me sometimes there's this dual experience of totally knowing that the audience is there and losing them and forgetting them at the same time. So there's both this consciousness of energy and eyes, and that energy and excitement like manifests itself in my orgasm, but there's also like losing myself in the ecstasy, and you know, almost like after the orgasm being like, oh yeah, there's people here.